You know, when you hear the word miracle, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably something impossible, right? Something that just completely defies the laws of physics. But what if I told you that's just the tip of the iceberg? In this explainer, we're going to see that the biblical idea of a miracle is so much richer and way more purposeful than you might think.
So yeah, let's just start right there. If I asked you point blank, what is a miracle? What would you say? I'm guessing for most of us, the answer would have something to do with an event that science just can't explain.
And hey, you'd be in good company. This classic dictionary definition pretty much nails that common understanding. It's some kind of event that seems to just break all the rules of nature. Simple enough, right?
Well, hold on a second. While that definition isn't exactly wrong, it's incomplete. It's missing a huge piece of the puzzle, because the biblical text itself paints a much more detailed picture.
So let's totally dive into that. In the original biblical languages, there isn't just one word for miracle. There are actually several. And when you look at them together, they reveal this kind of three-part anatomy. It's not just about what happens, but also how it happens, and this is the big one, why it happens.
Okay, so here are the three pillars. First, you've got the wondrous aspect. I mean, it has to be something that makes you go, whoa! It causes awe. Second, it has to show supernatural power. The Greek text actually uses the word dunamis, which is where we get our word dynamic. It's this incredible act of power. And third, and you really got to get this, it has significance. It's trying to tell you something.
So when you put it all together, this is what you get. A biblical miracle isn't some random, flashy display of power. No, it's a striking event with a very clear purpose. That whole significance part, it's not a side effect. It's the entire point.
And this, right here, is where things get really fascinating. Because if every single miracle comes with a message, then what are they actually trying to say? You see, they aren't just spectacles. They are incredibly purposeful events that serve these specific functions all throughout the biblical story.
And those functions, they usually fall into a few key themes. A miracle can be an attestation, which is basically a divine stamp of approval on a messenger, or they can be acts of judgment. A lot of the time they serve as a deliverance, like a rescue mission. And finally, they can be a revelation, showing us something brand new about God's character or His plan for everything.
All right, let's break down that first one, attestation. The easiest way to think about this is like a divine credential. A miracle happens and it's like a big flashing sign from God that says, hey, the person doing this, they're speaking for me. You need to pay attention. And just look at how consistent this theme is. I mean, it runs through the whole Bible. In the Old Testament, you've got Moses' staff turning into a snake, a pretty undeniable sign for a very skeptical Pharaoh. Then, fast forward hundreds of years to the New Testament, Peter heals a man who couldn't walk, and it serves the exact same purpose. It's a sign that the power of Jesus is now at work through his followers. The context is totally different, but the function, it's identical.
Okay, next up we've got deliverance, and this is one of the most powerful themes you'll find. In these cases, a miracle isn't just a sign, it's a full-on rescue operation. It's a supernatural intervention to save people from a completely impossible situation.
Just look at these two examples. On the left, you've got the epic crossing of the Red Sea. I mean, that's the ultimate rescue from the entire Egyptian army. And on the right, you have a totally different kind of prison. The apostles are locked up in jail, and an angel just miraculously busts them out. In both situations, the miracle is a direct act of deliverance that makes sure God's plan can keep moving forward.
Now, even though themes like attestation and deliverance stay consistent, there's this subtle but really important shift that happens when we get to the New Testament. The focus of the miracles, it just gets laser sharp.
So here's the crucial difference. Old Testament miracles were often about serving God's big, overarching plan for the entire nation of Israel, but the New Testament miracles, they become what you could call Christ-centric. Every single one is specifically designed to point directly to the person and the identity of Jesus Christ, revealing who the Messiah is in a much more focused, personal way.
All right, let's pull all of these threads together for the final takeaway. When you start to look at miracles through this biblical lens, they stop feeling like just random, weird things that happened.
So, what have we really learned here? Well, first off, a biblical miracle is so much more than just a scientific anomaly. It's a three-part event. It's wondrous, it's powerful, and most importantly, it's significant. That message is the whole point. And whether these miracles are acting as divine credentials, dramatic rescues, or deep revelations, they all have a clear purpose.
The bottom line is this. These events aren't presented as simple magic tricks meant to just dazzle a crowd. Not at all.
They're described as carefully crafted signs, like divine messages embedded right into the fabric of history, just waiting to be read and understood.
And, that really leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. If all of these biblical miracles are signs, and each one has its own specific message, what is the ultimate reality that they are all pointing towards? Now that is the real mystery, isn't it?